Okay, so this is Blind Reacts between a young lady and I think her boyfriend. I'm not sure, but I guess we're going to find out. So,
coming up on 60 Minutes.
I don't think you can wake up one day and do something that brutal.
The crime that horrified Australia.
It smacks of hate, it smacks of narcissistic anger and rage.
Investigating the hidden past.
He was unhinged, deranged.
Of the monster who Lily James.
You can rot in hell.
That's next on 60 Minutes. At 21, bubbly Lily James was doing all the things you do at that age. Studying, working, playing. She was on the threshold of the rest of her life. But then, 1 year ago, this beautiful young woman was savagely to death in the gym of the elite private school where she had a part-time job. The violence was shocking, but so too was the identity of the man who killed her. 24-year-old Paul Tyson was Lily's ex-boyfriend. Those who knew him thought he was a model citizen, incapable of such a heinous crime. But they were mistaken. Tyson had a well-hidden, very worrying past. Lily James was born to fill the frame. Her presence and promise were undeniable. Lily was such a life force, her death is still impossible for her mum Peter and dad Jamie to accept.
Is Friday, the 23rd of December.
The hardest thing too is that we don't have a lot of stuff where we hear her voice.
Yeah.
Some days I just like hearing her voice. Sorry.
It's okay.
man, that's one of the most important things that I tell people sometimes, why you have an opportunity with the digital age that we're in right now, where you have an opportunity, people in front of you, people that you care about. If you still have them with you, I don't care if you think you need it or not, whatever. Take home videos, take recordings, take voice notes, anything that you can capture of people that are meaningful to you, and store them on a Google Drive, an Apple Drive, whatever, so that if something ever happens, you always have those pictures, those videos, those voice notes to go back to when you need them the most.
You know, that's the stuff that I miss the most.
Of course. Tonight, the investigation into a senseless and brutal crime.
If you knew what he did that night, I think you'd understand why we can't forgive what he did.
From her injuries, it was apparent that she was a victim of a homicide.
The cruel lies. Do you believe now that that text message was from Lily?
It was from the monster. From the monster.
How a universally admired and trusted sports coach could be capable of such evil.
It smacks of hate, it smacks of callousness, it smacks of psychopathy.
And for the first time, the woman who got away.
That should have been me, if it was going to be anyone.
Lily James never had a spare moment. When she wasn't with friends, she was studying or working. In 2023, she took on yet another part-time role, this time as popular water polo coach at Sydney's St Andrew's Cathedral School.
And she was only at the school for about a year. So in that short time, she was able to have a big impact.
A sports captain, Paul Tyson was a celebrated former student of the school who in 2020 returned to work there as a cricket and hockey coach. 5 weeks before her death, Lily and Paul's friendship became a fledgling and casual relationship. Both were seemingly aware of the work complications if it finished badly, but no one could imagine just how horrifically it would end.
I had a conversation with her and I said, so you're going out? And she said, yeah. She said, and I said, so is it anything that you think will be something serious? And she said, Mum, she goes, we both sat down at the start as a relationship and decided that neither of us wanted anything serious. We just wanted some fun. And once it had run its course, you know, we would go our separate ways. There was never meant to be any hard feelings.
Sounds like a very mature conversation to have.
Yeah, I think...
Yeah, definitely conversations been had.
Yeah.
There was no indication of anything.
She never had problems communicating, you know, what she wanted and you know, and finding out what someone else wanted.
She liked his vibe, he liked her vibe, and, you know, they just didn't really want to put a label on anything.
Christina Avramis and Lily's other close friends often join Peter and Jamie to reminisce about Lily.
You typically don't want to put on a label on anything. In my experience, that is important. You're not quick to put a label on anything that is important, that has you in a good space, and you just don't want to mess it up by putting a label on it that will cause it to be something that comes with certain responsibilities. And so you're like, while we're in this space, I just want to stay here. So let's not call it anything else to where we feel like there's weight or pressure to do something that is not growing organically or natural in this present stage between us.
What compounds their shock and disbelief at her death is that none of them saw or sensed anything in the new romance.
But I say that to say that I think the two of them were more important to each other than they both let on. And so they said, yo, you look good, I look good. Let's not disappoint each other, because you can pull, I can pull. And if I see something I like, I might go for it. If you see something you like, you might go for it. And so we're just not trying to set ourselves up for failure here, knowing these things. But at the very core, there was true interest and real feelings that came from the start.
Alarm them. According to Sophie Clisdell, it was quite the opposite.
He was just a very, chatty guy. She always liked people who talked a lot, because she talks a lot. Just very nice. He was always very helpful. They'd work together and they'd help each other out.
2 weeks before she passed, they came over together, and that's when I met him for the first time. But he was well-mannered, composed. He was just a normal guy.
But the pair decided to end things just a week later. And according to Marissa Seymour, it all went as Lily and Paul had discussed.
They just decided they just wanted to be friends, from what I was told, and that was the last I heard of it.
And did Lily say whose decision that was?
She said it was pretty mutual to me.
But only 3 days later, on Wednesday, the 25th of October last year, Paul Tyson could no longer contain the rage no one knew he had. Certainly not Lily or her family.
I was sitting in the lounge room watching her eat a toast. She eats it in a funny way, her Vegemite toast. I'm looking at the clock because the train's going to come shortly. She's off in her own little world. But she didn't seem agitated. She didn't seem frightened. Nothing. It was just a normal Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I could still picture her in the kitchen that morning.
So there was...
Let me just stop right here, because look, everybody reacts different, but when we talk about these other cases of these parents, the McCanns, really the Ramseys, Summer Wells, we talk about these cases and we're talking about parents losing their children. Honestly and truly, I expect to see something like this. Now, not everybody's going to cry, but I expect to see some sort of uncontained emotion that almost gets out. When you can sit there stoic and unmoved emotionally, I begin to have questions. Honestly, I do. That's what I'm saying.
Surprise, but no great alarm, when Jamie received this call for help from Lily.
And then that text message just changed everything. About 8:30 that night. And
what was the text message?
Come to school, trouble. Then I responded with a text, "Are you okay?" Said yes.
And you'd come to me and you said, "I've just got this text from Lily." And I said, "Well, you've got to go." You know what I mean? Like, you don't leave your child. You don't go, "No, get your own way home." You know, like, she asked him to come, so he had to go. I said, "At least if you go, then we'll know she's safe." But it's already too late.
Peter and Jamie could not have known, but their beloved and vivacious daughter was already dead, to death by Paul Tyson. Carrying a hammer, he'd followed her into the school gymnasium's bathroom. Over an hour later, he emerged on his own. Do you believe now that that text message was from Lily?
No.
No.
No. It was from the monster. From the monster. Yeah.
How do you know that?
We know that Lily passed shortly after 7 when she was getting changed to go to water polo. And the monster followed her into the bathroom.
That's crazy.
And so you got that text at what time?
About 8:30.
Yeah.
What do you think the motivation was behind that message?
Shows the character that the person is. Just, as I say, just an evil monster.
To her.
So that tells me that the split up wasn't mutual. That tells me that it's possible, like they said, he was a chatty guy. And I think there's nothing wrong with him being chatty, but Lily probably got to the point to where she felt like she was being played. Like, I know that it's mutual. So there's like I said, you know, this relationship is more important than we're letting on. And I thought Lily probably was like, yo, I thought we were growing together, to something that could have a label on it. That's one. Number two, it just seems like now that I didn't give you a label, you're going about things in a very disrespectful way. And so she probably pulled him to the side and was like, yo, this is not working. We need to do something different, or maybe we need to take a step back. Or she probably proposed to him. It's like, you know, it just feels like you're doing this and that. Oh, come on, Lily, you know, that I'm not trying to do all that. And then so she probably was like, well, I'm just going to let you do your thing. And then when you're ready for me, come back. And he was like, oh, it can't be. But what made him so upset, I'm still trying to understand that.
Hurt to wound to do as much damage? Is that what you're saying?
I think, for me, I really think that he was hoping that Jamie would find her.
Not knowing the kid used Lily's phone to send that message after she'd died, Jamie went to the school thinking he would be collecting his stranded daughter. There he encountered other staff, but couldn't find Lily. So you're at the school looking for Lily. Did you get anywhere near the gym?
We went up to her desk and her bag was still there. Her pass was still there. We had a quick look around. I did enter the doors that were close to the gym, stood there and then walked back out. So I'm glad that I didn't go a little bit further.
Back home, Peter was becoming more and more frantic.
I was, texting her friends to see whether any of them had seen her, and then I tried texting him, saying, "Can you call me? Do you know where Lily is?"
Oh, you tried texting Paul?
Yeah. I tried ringing him and he wasn't picking up, and then I tried texting him, and like when I read it back, I can hear the desperation in the text.
And at the school, Jamie too was getting increasingly desperate.
You're there. But just couldn't find her. And it was getting late. Mm-hmm. and couldn't track it down. I had a bag at this stage. I had a pass. And all of a sudden, police came, ambulance came. You start getting the pieces of information. You start showing photos to police. Then they take me back to the police station. So it's just, you know, you're not thinking that way, but you know that's not right.
Right.
And then, yeah. Said it was her. And I had to come home. Tell Peter and Max. I felt so bad. And just play those moments every day. Every day. Just feel like I let her down.
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget that one moment in time when the.
And you notice that compared to some of the other cases or parents that we've looked at, there's no trying to be strong for the media. It don't even matter if the media is here. Like, we're letting these emotions fly, period. As we talk, we get to a place to where we start to get apprehensive because I already know I'm going to cry. And so, but it's coming. So, and you understand the feeling in the pit of your stomach when, man, you're trying not to accept that something's gone wrong, even when you're initially looking for her before the cops come. But then all of a sudden the cops come out of nowhere and you're like, man, I hope that ain't got nothing to do with my daughter, man. I hope that has nothing to do with my daughter, please. You know. And so they come looking for you, and it's like, man, stop coming toward me, man. I don't want nothing to do with, please ask me something else. And they're like, hey, have you seen your daughter, or did you know this and that? And that really sucks, man.
Realization that she'll never walk through that door again. It will haunt me for the rest of my life.
It's just too awful.
Still can't believe that it's happened. She's just going to work.
Somewhere where she should have been safe.
But while few knew it, Paul Tyson had long been a dangerous man. As you'll see, he was a master at hiding who he truly was. But there was one woman who saw the mask slip and made her lucky escape.
I was actually fearful for my safety at that point and basically ran back home.
This figure, captured in the shadows, is Paul Tyson. Nearly 2 hours earlier, he bludgeoned his former girlfriend, 21-year-old Lily James, to death. CCTV captured his final steps. Despite the horror he'd inflicted, he seemed remarkably unfazed. He'd come here to dump personal items in this bin, but in a startling twist, his choice to do so in this Sydney street, 20 minutes from where he committed his violent crime, was far from random.
I had police knock on my window at 2 a.m. because they let us know that there was a serious crime.
Christina Avramis lives directly opposite the pathway Paul walked that night. She happens to be one of Lily's closest friends. Just 2 weeks before this terrible crime, Christina met Paul for the first time when he and Lily paid a visit here. Eerily, it was her CCTV camera that captured the
I had detectives in the house looking over camera footage and I knew straight away it was Paul. And as they were watching the footage, they could see him and I knew straight away it was him.
And that's what you told police?
Yeah.
So that was key to identifying him?
Yeah. I knew exactly what he looked like and what he wore. And
What was it like for you to see those images?
It's very confronting because, you know, you never really think that you'd go through something like that. So
It's okay.
it almost felt like a movie. I just didn't think it was real. You know, to see them both at my house 2 weeks before and then this has all happened, it just, my brain still can't put into pieces what's happened.
And it's really weird. It's really weird. And I'll hold it right there, but it's really weird that first it's like he's calling people to know what he's done. I don't know if that's just pure narcissism or what that is, to call attention to a crime that you've committed. Like you first, you know, you text her dad, what have you been doing for an hour and a half with the girl's body laying there? What have you been doing? That's number one. That's weird. Number two, you take off and go to her friend's house and start throwing away items. Probably not thinking about being in the camera view, but with the hopes that her friend is home. Maybe coming to, like, watching you or coming out to see you and check on you and say, yo, what's up? Like, what's the motivation in that? You know, for people to catch you so quickly. And I have to think that being in front of the friend's house is like, come out and talk to me so I can divulge this information. I don't know. I guess we'll see more here in just a second, but that's the video. Like, share, subscribe, comment, engage. Let me know what you think. Let me know where your theories lie. But until then, till the next video, take it easy.